first of all, you have to know yourself. Know what's good in you or bad in you.
Mm-hmm.
Understand who you are, then expound upon it.
This is a journey.
Let me take you on a journey.
There will still be the journey.
The journey.
New sheriff in town, and his name is the journey.
Journey.
This thing is bigger than Nino Brown. This is
The journey.
The journey.
What is it that moved you?
The journey. The journey. The journey. The journey.
Welcome back to another episode of The Journey. I'm your host, Larry Robinson, and today we have a born and bred and will be Memphis and North Memphis until he's dead, Mack Weaver. But before we get to Brother Mack, I got a quote that I'm going to ask him to kind of comment on. It goes like this: dedicate yourself to a core set of values. Without them, you will never be able to find personal fulfillment, and you will never be able to lead effectively. That comes from Chenault, former CEO of American Express, and just a tremendous icon in the black community. Now, we have Brother Mack Weaver. First, he's out of North Memphis, Northside High School, former athlete, played all MEAC, all of that. We ain't gonna talk about that. Math major. Now we're gonna get into that. Change agent, community advocate. He a deacon, so we could call him Deacon Weaver. He's a father, husband, and now he's the CEO of Memphis in May. Without further ado, please welcome Brother Mack Weaver.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Larry, I really appreciate it. I really appreciate it. Wow, I'm almost speechless, but I know I have to say something.
Yeah, you got to say something, bro. Don't get speechless now. So we're gonna take it back to North Memphis.
Okay.
Who was in the house with you when you grew up?
Who wasn't in the house?
Oh, really? Okay.
Well, all right. Truth be told,
okay.
I was in the house with my mom.
Okay.
It was a single parent household.
Okay.
But I always make it a point to let everybody know my father was only a phone call away.
Okay. Okay.
So my father has always been in my life. My parents were married young, and they were both out of North Memphis, where my dad was out of Klondike.
Okay.
And North Memphis is still North Memphis. My mom, Smoky City.
Okay.
And they were young parents with me, and things just didn't work out.
Were you only child?
No. I have a sister.
Okay.
She's 12 years my younger.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay. Man, you start smiling when you thought of this sister.
Yes. She was, I just remember when my mom called to let me know that she was expecting. And I was so excited because I'd been an only child for so long. And I can remember one of my cousins saying, "You excited to have another brother or sister?" I'm like, "Yeah." And they were like, "Well, now they're going to pull the attention away from you." I'm like, I don't want to be in the house by myself all the time. So
that's awesome.
And my sister, she's one of my hearts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, who outside of your immediate family, mother, father, sister, had the biggest impact on young Mack?
Outside of my family that had the biggest impact? Well, there was an elementary school teacher, 4th grade. I've always been a little dark-skinned kid. Can't tell now, but my hair used to be real fine and kind of wavy. But, I wasn't the best looking kid, I want to say.
Right.
And there was this teacher. I'm not going to call her name because I don't want to embarrass them. But she's gone now. But she paid a lot of attention to me because, my mom, I was one that wanted to have a lot of attention. I was always busy.
Right.
And my family would tell you about all that. But I was just a busy child. But this teacher, she took the time, to pour into me. Okay. And I actually became the teacher's pet somehow.
Really?
Out of all of the kids, I stayed in the principal's office because I always had to touch something or had to do something that, I needed to stay busy.
Right.
I think they call that now ADD.
ADHD,
ADHD or
yeah.
something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
I was just a busy child.
Okay.
Schoolwork came easy to me. So,
Right.
I needed things to keep my attention.
Right. Right.
So,
Okay. What decision did you make as a young person that ended up having a lifelong impact on Mack?
Well, like I said, I grew up in a single parent household, but
Okay.
on the weekends I would go to my father's house
Okay.
and spend the weekend there. And I would go see my father's side of the family. So I had two neighborhoods that I lived in or,
Right.
Visited. There was one which was North Memphis,
Right.
which I was there day in and day out.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other neighborhood was, at the time, it was Raleigh, Whitehaven, kind of the affluent area where no one lived in a duplex. Everyone had houses and, cars, and, it didn't look like they were struggling financially.
Right.
So I noticed that difference growing up.
Mm-hmm.
So, me being a kid who thought about things, I wondered what were the differences, what made this side different from the other. And I started to look at, education.
Mm.
And I had my aunt Martell.
Mm-hmm.
I call her name because I love her to death.
Uh-huh.
She was a school teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And, and I would spend some summers over her house. My mom would literally have to come get me because I'd go over with probably 2 nights worth of clothes, and it would be a month and a half later, school is about to start, and I hadn't come back home.
Wow.
And so my Aunt Martell, she helped me to understand that education was the key, was the difference.
Okay.
So I knew that I needed, if I wanted my situation to be different, I was going to have an education.
Okay. When did you know? Well, first, before I ask you that, what did you dream you would be as a young person? You go back to North Memphis, when you was dreaming and you thinking, okay, when I become an adult, who did you think you'd be?
Wow. Well, I thought I would be some type of business person.
Really?
Yes. I thought I would own my own business and I would have several people working for me. I wanted to own my own business. I wanted to work with my hands.
Okay.
So when I thought about it, it was either going to be maybe a mechanic and own a auto parts place, or I would be an architect. I didn't know.
Okay.
I knew a mechanic, but I didn't know what it took to be an architect. But I knew I wanted to build things. I was always good with my hands. So.
Oh, wow. So no football, I'm going to be a pro football player, pro basketball, none of that?
I was a small guy for a long time.
Really?
I hit a growth spurt my 9th grade year. I went to Humes Junior High. At 8th grade, my mom moved us out of North Memphis and into Frazier.
Okay.
And so we moved up. So I had to leave Humes midway through the year and went to Frazier High School.
Okay.
At the time, Frazier High School was predominantly white.
Okay.
And I was coming from a predominantly black school.
Okay.
And I went to school and I immediately hated the whole situation.
Really?
At Frazier. And so.
Here, we're going to pick that piece
Okay,
up. We're going
all
to
right,
pick that piece up. I'm going to ask you this now. When did you know you was going to be okay? When could Mack Weaver look in the mirror and say, I got this thing called life. I can do this?
It was my freshman year in college.
Really?
Yeah. Classes hadn't started yet.
What made you feel like that from your freshman year?
It was a traumatic event.
Okay.
College football. I had a college football scholarship.
Right.
And me and one of my best friends, we went to the same college. And you know, they have this thing where they're hazing all the freshmen that come in. And at South Carolina State, you can't be a bulldog before you're a puppy. So we were puppies, freshmen. We had to earn our stripes. And I'm from North Memphis. And one thing you're not going to do is push me around.
Right.
And he had my back, I had his back. And these grown men, these were the largest men I'd ever seen.
Right.
Talking about playing football.
Right.
They told us what we were going to do and what we weren't going to do. And we told them, make us. So we were a team. It was just me and him against all of them.
Right.
Well, one day he decided it wasn't for him while I was at practice. And he packed his stuff up and he left. Well, you know, I had talked a lot of stuff before I left Memphis and while I was there in South Carolina.
Right.
And so I get back to the dorm and I'm looking at the room, I'm like, it seemed kind of empty in here.
Right.
He had skied up, didn't tell me, he'd gotten on the bus and come back home. So I called my mom and I said, Mom, Barry's gone. She's like, what? What happened? So like, he decided it wasn't for him. And my mom, she didn't mean any harm by what she said, but it struck a chord with me. She said, do you still have the money I gave you before you left? I said, yes, ma'am. She said, well, baby, come home. All I heard was baby. Because before I left Memphis, I told everybody that I was a man. When I got to South Carolina State, every time one of the upperclassmen approached me, I spouted out of my mouth, I'm a man just like you.
Right.
And you're not gonna make me do this, make me do that. Well, here I am on the phone crying to my mom. And the words out of her mouth was, well, baby, come home. So, long story short, after I got off the phone with my mom, I got down on my knees and I prayed. That's what my mom gave me, was she taught me how to pray. She took me to a place that taught me how to pray for myself.
Ooh.
That was the first time that I sincerely prayed for myself. I was on my knees in my dorm room, crying. This was in between two-a-day practices.
Right.
I went to sleep, woke up. As I was walking down to the stadium for the second practice, it was like it was a brand new day. My tears had washed away any regret that I had of staying, and I knew I was going to be okay. And sure enough, the upperclassmen, you know, first thing out of their mouth was, your boy's gone. We're going to see you tonight. I said, bring it on.
Oh, wow. All right, listen, last question of the segment.
Okay.
Everybody can know that defining moment. But what was that moment that you realized you was a black man? Hold on real quick. Listen, we're going to come back on the journey. My brother Mack is going to share with us when he realized he was a black man. I told you, stay right there. We're going to come back. This is the Kazukian Network. I promise you, we're going to come back with his story. You've been watching The Journey on the Kazukian Network. You know, success in life is never a straight line. It's full of twists, turns, highs, lows, and every single event, every single step shapes who we become. This season, the journey is stretching out even further. We're stepping into new communities, meeting new voices, sharing new paths, and it's all about reaching more men so we can impact more young boys, letting them know that life is in fact a journey. Think about it. The road is where we grow, where we stumble and rise, where we discover strengths we didn't even know we had. The journey is the teacher. The journey is the gift. And it's in those steps, those moments, those experiences that our future is shaped. And that's why the journey is here, to inspire the next generation. By uplifting young boys, these stories become a guide. They show that obstacles can be overcome. Dreams are worth chasing, and every path, every single path has value. I'm Larry Robinson, your host, and I want you to walk with me as we uncover stories of strength, of passion, of resilience, and of humanity in every community we touch. Because these stories matter, and our boys, they deserve to hear them. Welcome back to The Journey. Today we have Brother Mack Weaver, straight out of North Memphis. We ain't gonna call him Mack Weaver. We're gonna call him Deacon Weaver. Deacon Weaver. Straight out of North Memphis, man. So listen, before we left, we asked him about him being a brother, when it was that moment. But before we go there, I want him to go back to that quote from Ken Chenault, because he's a leader. He's always been a leader. And if you go back to college, he was a captain of his football team for 2 years, junior and senior year. Then he's chairman of the deacon board at church. Now he's CEO of Memphis and May. So leadership is all over him. So I want to ask you about this quote from Ken Chenault, and the fact that he goes, dedicate yourself to a core set of values. What does that quote mean to you?
It means that, first of all, you have to know yourself. Know what's good in you or bad in you.
Mm-hmm.
Understand who you are, then expound upon it. If you're trying to get somewhere. So what are my good qualities?
Right.
And what do I think I do best?
Right.
And once I realize what those things are, then I work to improve them, and then I let the world see.
Wow. So now I'm gonna ask you this.
Okay.
What's that superpower? What's that thing? Because I would say leadership, but what's that thing that Mack Weaver does better than anybody he knows?
That's a good question, but I would have to say I think I can read or analyze a situation.
Okay.
And
unpack that a little bit.
I'm a good listener.
Okay.
Early on, very early on, some may say, I always read things. That was another gift that my mom gave me. I was an avid reader for a long time because I was an only child.
Right.
But up until my sister was there. So I had to entertain myself. So I read a lot. And so I'm used to being quiet. When I'm quiet, I'm thinking.
Okay.
And so a lot of times I will go through the entire day making things happen, and then at the end of the day, particularly when I'm riding home, a lot of times I turn the radio off and just ride in silence.
Right.
And then I review the day. I may not have said 2 or 3 things to someone about a certain conversation, but now I've replayed the conversation. I remembered the gestures that were made or the insinuations that were made, and then I start to unpack that, and then I begin to address where I didn't address when it was initially made.
Right.
So I'm really good at looking at a situation and seeing both sides.
Okay. When did you realize you was a black man?
I think I've always known that I was a black man.
Really?
Yeah. Simply because of where I grew up and how I grew up.
Okay.
I'm from North Memphis. There were things that, our parents taught us in North Memphis that, I never had to teach my son early on. But when he became of age where he wasn't going to be everywhere I was going to be,
right,
I had to then address those situations with him.
right,
But with me, because I was there in North Memphis, I've always known that I was black.
okay.
I've had reality checks when, I'm in corporate America. I've been in corporate America since I left college.
Okay.
And so, you know, like I said, you know, I'm not the smartest person I know, but I can hold my own.
Right.
And I'm a hard worker.
Right.
No one will outwork me. That was one of the things that I took with me on the football field.
Okay.
I'm going to always be the hardest worker.
Okay.
And there was a thing that we used to say when the coach was punishing us, so to speak, and making us do extra laps and all this, all the guys knew at some point I was going to yell out, "You can't burn me out." And that's all he was wanting to do, was to make everyone miserable and tired and wear you out to the point you would be speechless. And that's when I got the loudest.
Really?
And that was my only way to get back at him.
Right.
Was to continue running the laps and to continue to say, "You can't burn me out,"
Wow.
till he got bored with it and he'd just walk away.
Really?
Yes. So I took everything that I learned on that football field into corporate America. No one's going to work harder than me. Everyone's going to see that I'm working just as hard as them, if not harder.
Right.
And I lead by example.
Absolutely. Yeah. Wow. Told you, he's a bad brother right here, y'all. I'm telling you. So let's go back.
Okay.
You got a baby sister.
Yes.
What was it like when your mama brought that baby sister home?
It was wonderful.
Really?
It really was. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Sonia, well, I didn't realize it until she started to talk that I had another boss in the house. And my sister, like my mom, you know, struggled to be over 5'3". But, you know, I can just remember at a young age having to walk her to school before I got on the bus to go to Northside. You know, she would always say, "My mama said hold my hand." And, you know, I'm trying to be cool, you know, and I'm holding this little girl's hand. And, I mean, she would, you know, if you've seen, what was it, Rerun with Rod and his sister.
Right.
That was me and my sister.
Oh, man.
That's
What's Happening.
Yes, What's Happening. She loved to tell on me.
Oh, really?
Yes. So I had to be appropriate.
Now, you and your sister, you started smiling. Every time you talk about her, you smiling.
Yes.
So what is that relationship like today?
It's the same.
Oh,
It's the same.
she's still your boss.
Yeah, she's still my boss. You know, she's my boss, but she's my biggest protector.
Okay.
Outside of my wife, she is my biggest protector.
How did she act when you became CEO of Memphis?
She's a crier. She's a crybaby, and she was upset because I didn't. I may have been. There was an announcement made, and I didn't pre-warn them of the announcement. And then they showed it on television and all this, and I just kind of matter-of-factly told her, and she had a fit.
Really?
She said, "This is huge. Why would you do that? Why wouldn't you tell me before?" And you know, I call her a drama queen. She just cried, and you know, and to the point I had to get up and close my office door because I'm like, "Sonia, calm down. It's not that big. Yes, it is a big deal. Don't say it's not. It is." And so,
oh wow, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Yes. Teen years. You were going back and forth. When did you know when did you know that you were going to be, that football was going to be your way, sort of to college and out of the hood, so to speak?
Well, I've always been one to, you know, have a backup plan.
Okay.
You know, and that's something that I've told my son and my daughter. You know, you got to have a plan A and B.
Okay.
Plan A was I would get an academic scholarship.
Okay.
Plan B, my father, he was an excellent athlete.
Okay.
But being from Klondike and North Memphis,
right,
he had discipline issues.
Right.
So, you know, he never really played organized sports until he became an adult, and he played on softball team, and, you know, and so, but he loved to throw the football. My father would have been a heck of a quarterback.
Right.
And I was always his receiver.
Okay.
And this man, we'd go over to a friend's house on the weekends, and he'd pop his trunk, and we'd be out, and he'd say, "Think you can hold my son?" You know, and this is me. It grown men, it didn't matter. He would pull that ball out the trunk, and he'd have me run routes, and I would catch that ball, and it was just catch that ball, and that's what I did. So, you know, it came to a point when I got in high school, I went out to play receiver, and first the coach was like, "You too light in the pants to be playing, you know, with these guys." But he said, "Let's see what you can do." And he saw that I had the speed.
Right.
And so he was like, "Okay, well, maybe if we put you out there a little bit." And at the time, we had this quarterback at Northside. You may know him. Well, not being from Memphis, you may not. He was Richard Madison. They call him Master
Blaster. He played in UK. I know, coming from Louisville, Kentucky.
Right.
I know Master Blaster. I definitely know.
So he was a tall figure standing behind, you know, that line.
Right.
And me being this, like I said, I hit a growth spurt in ninth grade, so I'm in 10th grade now. This tall, lanky kid, all I had to do was break and turn, and he would see me over everybody else, and he'd put that ball there.
Oh, wow.
And so all of that I did throughout North Memphis and Klondike with my dad, you know, came into effect. And so the athletic scholarship started to pour in.
Okay.
You know, and so I really had an opportunity at my senior year to decide if I wanted to play football or go on an academic scholarship.
Okay. All right. What was the transition like to adulthood? You got out of college, you got out of South Carolina State. Did you always know you was going to come back to Memphis?
Yes.
Okay.
I did. Early on, when I left to go to college, one of the reasons I chose South Carolina State was there were two colleges that were the farthest away from home. And I was running from that little short lady that was controlling me, her and her little daughter.
Right.
And so Bethune-Cookman and South Carolina State were the two farthest places away.
Okay.
And all I knew about Mary Cloud Bethune at the time in those books that they would send to the school was that it was that she was a hairdresser, or, you know, she had hair products, and that's how she made her fortune.
Right.
So I'm like, that sounds like a woman's school. I'm not going there.
Oh,
so I chose South Carolina State.
Okay.
I know the coach
just on Bethune-Cookman.
So I know the coach would, you know, he wouldn't be happy to hear that reason why I ended up at South Carolina State. But so after going there, and then the first time we go to play.
Wait a minute, that had to be Coach Mo.
No.
At Bethune-Cookman.
Oh, it may have been.
Yeah, well, see, my son went to Bethune-Cookman, so yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. So the first time South Carolina State go down to play Bethune-Cookman, as we're pulling up to the campus, I'm looking at the palm trees, and I'm in Florida, and I'm like, oh man, I picked the wrong.
Oh man, oh my goodness.
No, but I wouldn't trade my experience at South Carolina State for anything. I love it.
Good. What has Memphis meant to you? How has Memphis helped you to develop as the person you are today?
Memphis means home.
Okay.
Memphis is family. Memphis is pride. Memphis is hard. Memphis made me. So, you know, like, you know, they're just now saying grit, grind.
Right.
You know, well, before we had those cool sayings,
right,
you know, we had that feeling in us.
Right.
You know, it was a hard place growing up.
Right.
You know, the neighborhood I grew up in, the neighborhoods I visited, neighborhoods I was run out of.
Right.
You know, that was all part of being who I am. So when I got to South Carolina State, you know, and for 2 years, I was the only student there from the state of Tennessee, not from Memphis, from the state of Tennessee.
You was really by yourself.
Alone.
Okay.
And I had to find my way.
Right.
I knew that in my heart, if I had come back, I wouldn't have achieved what I wanted to achieve in life. So
Right.
I stuck it out. My plan B for if college hadn't worked out, if I hadn't continued to get my scholarship, I had taken a test for the Air Force.
Okay.
And
took
so,
the ASVAB.
yeah. So that was my plan B. If I hadn't secured my scholarship, at that time, you come in, it's understood, but
Right.
if you don't make it through summer practice, they'll let you know, this isn't for you. You probably need to, go find something else. Well,
Right.
I had already planned to send my trunk back by Trailways on the bus.
Okay.
I had found the recruiting station that was close to campus.
Right.
And I was going to go to the Air Force because I was
Right.
accepted. So
Right.
I was going to the Air Force. My uncle was a colonel in the Army, and he flew helicopters.
Right.
So I was going to be an airplane pilot.
Wow. Wow. I bet you no one knows that about Mack Weaver. Any regrets? Anything you do over again? Any kind of mulligans?
There's always mulligans.
Okay.
There's always regrets. But at this point in my life, I know those areas where I would have taken a mulligan, I shouldn't and I wouldn't.
Okay.
Because I like who I am. I like the things that I've done. And, at 55 years old, I'm in really good shape. I feel better. I'm healthy. I thought I was going to go play pro ball.
Right.
That wasn't a desire first going into college. But after my junior year, it became a possible real reality.
Right.
Well, I always tell my son, and I tell anybody, you don't ever want God to humble you. Because God's humbling, it's a lasting humbling.
Oh,
So,
wow. Wow.
I won't let that happen again.
Okay. Okay. So we're going back to North Memphis.
Okay.
I want you to see the house, see the duplex you living in. You say, hey man, let me go in here. You go in that old house that you lived in. Sitting there at the table is a young Mack Weaver. What would you say to him?
First of all, I'd say smile. Smile more. It's not as bad as you think. And pay more attention to your schoolwork because, there's no ceiling for you. If I could go back to my younger self, I'd tell myself, do it. Do everything you have time to do.
Okay.
But smile.
Smile.
I turned away a lot of people that would have approached me or would have thought to help me because I didn't smile. I didn't think I had anything to smile about.
Right.
And it was my cousin. She said to me one day, and it just out of the blue, she said, you don't ever smile. It can't be that bad. And I'm like, why should I smile? And it just never dawned on me.
Right.
And so to prove her wrong, I started smiling. And all of a sudden, people talk to me that wouldn't normally talk to me, or, people would just, different towards me.
Right.
And I guess that's when I realized that I was a black man.
Right.
Most black men don't smile.
Right.
Because we're thinking about the pressures of today or yesterday or what's to come tomorrow.
Wow.
And we don't take the time to just smile.
Interesting that you would say that. I'm reading a book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, Dale Carnegie.
Okay.
And one of the chapters is smile.
Wow.
So, hey man, that's been reinforced. I must need to smile more.
Right, there you go.
All right, this is it. This is it, Mack, and I want you to say it right in that camera right here. Now, it's a lot of young Macks. It's a lot of young Macks that are going to see this moment right here, going to watch this show or hear this show. But I want you to leave them with a Mackism, a Weaverism, something that they can know, that they can pull with them from this show and take to help them on their journey.
Okay. Wow. All right. Well, I would just say there's only one you. Be the best you that you can be. You're not going to always get it right, and it's not going to always be perfect, but you can control how you handle the situation. Control yourself, control your emotions, and just smile.
Wow. So let's smile. Listen, I want to thank my brother, Mack Weaver. Thank you, man. I'm honored. I'm honored, my man.
The honor's mine. Seriously, Larry. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Fantastic. Listen, man, we're going to keep bringing these Memphis icons back to you. I need you to keep coming back. I need you to keep showing up, because I'm telling you, man, it's gold in them there heels. Till next time, I'm Larry Robinson for our wonderful guest, Brother Mack Weaver, Deacon Mack Weaver, CEO Mack Weaver. Till next time.